Hello, welcome to Higher Ground Gaming. This is Eric. My co-host Mr. Brody is snoozing away over there, resting up for the Game 2 of the World Series a little bit later on. Anyway, thought we'd get in another video here. This one, the last video, we went over attributes and the different races. In this video, we're going to go over the classes, or you can call them professions, or I think they also call them careers in this game. They're known on the page as careers, and maybe a little bit about party makeup kind of thing, and maybe some special items and spells and whatnot if we get into it, and different multipliers and how you level up kind of stuff. But anyway, we'll at least try to get information on the different careers, races, careers, professions, whatever you want to call it, jobs, I guess you could call it, that you can pick from. And then what we'll do is on this video, you can leave comments and everything. If you like to be part of this Let's Play, I'm going to try to do it by this weekend. It's Wednesday today, so I'm going to try to do it by, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday, depending upon how many kind of response we get. Try to get a party of 8 adventurers. Again, I'm going to do a character for myself. Mr. Brody is going to have one, Miss Mags, and possibly Mr. Miller, depending upon how kind of a response we get. But if I know Al, Red Sox fan, wanted to do one, and I know ID Gesture is into these type of games, so if he wants to pick a character, he can choose one, a character, and maybe give a couple different choices as to what you want, as in case the first choice, because we want to try to make somewhat of a balanced party. And I was trying to think of, I think Beatles might be into these type of games too. I think if he's around. So if Al, you contact with Beatles, you see Beatles in the chats and everything like that, mention this to him, and I'll do the same. And most of the other guys are into baseball and sports-related games, but there are probably a few that are into these type of games too. So spread the word. We'll try to get a Let's Play going of this starting this weekend or early next week. So, all right. So without further ado, let's get back into the library here, which is our character creation thing. I moved Mr. Brody down there so you can see what he was blocking last time. So again, if you look at this right here, that's where the portrait's going to go, up on where the question mark is. And these are all the stats. We kind of went over a little bit of each one of them last time. Lots of different stats here. Attributes that you call them. And then here's name, race, class, sex, you can be male or female, obviously. Level, and life and age. That's kind of interesting too. Interesting mechanic. Experience, next level, title, I guess you have a title, patron, hit points, spirit, vitality, and magic points. Alright, so anyway, let's see here. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. So I guess you can pretend we're creating a character, and we'll just pick a human for now. And I think this is going to allow us to go into the character creation here. Let's see. So we'll just pick a male for now. Now, when you create the actual character, I believe you get 3 rolls here. Now you can roll 6 D8s. So 6 D8s gives you a maximum hit points of 6. Well, if all of them are 8s, and you have 6 of them, so that would be 48. Now the 8 D6s only give you well, that gives you 48 too. They might have changed this since they last had this. I think it was a 5 D6s, and there's 8 and yeah, this is different than I remember last time. So this is even now. Okay, so it really doesn't matter which ones. The only difference in rolling these right here is the minimum you would get here of 6 D8s would be 6. You get a 1 on each one of them. So the range is between 6 and 48, and the lowest you can get here is an 8. Is a 6, so this would range from 6 to 48. So this is 6 to 48 rolling the 8d6s, and the 8 to 48 rolling this right here. Now, you can, even if you don't do it the first 3 times, you can just cancel and roll it again to try to get higher rolls. Because, you want to try to get as good at characters as possible. I mean, I don't mind playing games with like lower level characters, and it adds more of a challenge and stuff. But I think for our first playthrough, we're going to try to make some strong characters, because I know this game is pretty unforgiving, especially to when you first start it, until you learn the game itself. So anyway, so yeah, let me just create a character just so I can go into the different classes here. So we'll just roll the 8d6, so I'll show you what happens here. So it gives you 21, which you get three rolls right here. Sorry, Mr. Brody's covering that 3 there. Try to move out of the way, but I guess I didn't move him quite enough out of the way. Roll again. So I'm going to do the same thing. 31, so that's a little higher there. And we'll roll again. And that's 30. So you're not going to always roll lower or higher. 30 is not a bad roll, I guess, out of 48. A little bit more than half above. But in case you want to cancel it, you can go cancel it, and you can go create again. Pick the human. Okay, male. And then try it again. 27. 41. That's a very good roll. I would probably keep that. But I'm not going to keep these characters. I'm just going to, I'll just accept it just to show you. Okay. So now here are your professions here. So this is kind of what I did here. I'm just going to pause for a second and get Mr. Brody out of the way, because he's blocking some of the professions here. Be right back. Alright, there we go. We got Mr. Brody over there in the corner. Anyway, you can see the whole screen now. So now let's go. We're going to go over each of the professions, careers, classes, also known as jobs in some games like Final Fantasy. So we're going to go over the professions here. Okay. So now, warrior. The warrior pursues mastery of all martial arts to secure victory in combat. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, here's a little bit more of an explanation of what that means. The warrior pursues mastery of all martial victory in combat. Let me see if I can find it here. They gave a good definition here. If I can find it. Let's see if I can find it here. Basically like a meat shield, can use all kinds of weapons. They gave a better explanation here of what they were. I guess when I printed it out, I just printed out the actual... hold on there. Alrighty, I found my little explanation here. Okay, so warrior, good frontliner, can don any armor, depending upon the race, however. Starts with a boost in most melee weapons. But that's the limit. Outclassed later by blacksmiths. Okay, so that's kind of that was from the internet there. So that is a warrior. Okay. Cleric. A cleric serves a deity and like a god, and acquires holy power through prayer and devotion. Obvious healer with good buffing spells. Templars and bards get access to their spells later on, so it isn't a necessary class. And also there is a cleric companion you may obtain early on, so I suggest to skip this. Okay, well, that's just a suggestion, but if somebody wants to be a cleric, we can do that. One thing about this game too is that there are many NPCs, a lot of them which you can recruit. A lot of them are very powerful and add to your party quite a bit. So if you wanted to maybe only make like say 4 or 6 characters, you would still initially fill all the slots with 8 characters, and then have 2 like kind of throwaway characters with the plans of maybe joining, signing up an NPC later on. I kind of like to play with the party that I start with, but that's an option. If people want to do that, we can bring an NPC into the party depending upon what skills they have. So we'll see. That's just an option there. Okay, so that's cleric. then you have Necromancer, which is the Necromancer learns unholy secrets by consulting with the dead and demons. And Necromancer is a niche, like a niche kind of thing, niche caster with unique spellbook and raise dead. Pretty, and it's a bunch of hearts there. Proven pretty something early on, but proven to be much. I think it probably says pretty like lousy early on, but proven to be of much fun as your spellbook expands. So they have one of the bigger spellbooks, I think. Vampire, which is one of the races, seems to be the only ones to reach a good roll to unlock at party creation. So I think you have to roll a high roll when you're creating your character. Here I rolled a 41 for human, but I think if it were a vampire, you need to roll some high stats there in order to unlock the Necromancer possibility. So it's not one, I guess, that's guaranteed, but a vampire Necromancer is, I guess, a common combination. Alright, so that's that. Thief, pretty standard there. Thief is a... let's find it here. Good to have for lockpicking and backstab. So I know with lockpicking you have to have another stat to go with it. I think it's inspection. I think you have to have inspection and lockpicking on the same character. So you want to make sure you have both those stats if you're going to create that. Now you don't have to use a thief, but a thief is a common one to use for lockpicking. And also they successfully hide in combat, then attack the next round. Functions are easily replaced by the knock knock spell. Knock knock, that's to open up like treasure chests and whatnot, and doors and things like that. I guess it opens up any type of locks. And it's another nuker circer. Stealth can be power leveled just like instruments for Bard early on. Okay, so that's a thief. Berserker, that's kind of like a, like a warrior meat shield thing, but it kind of goes nuts, I guess. That's kind of the way I look at it. Berserker, access to all Berserker skill and similar in feature to warrior, but mostly uses axes and scimitar weapons. Berserk is best conjoined with sleep at the end of the round. So in other words, they need to rest a lot to negate its detrimental effect to the party, because they use a lot of energy, a lot of stamina. Stamina is important in this game too, so there's a lot of resting you have to do to get the stamina back up. Another thing too about resting too, if you rest too much, it ages the characters quicker, I guess. Anyway, so Berserker, I guess, the thing with Berserking, I guess, is there's a chance that you can injure your own party too. So you can go nuts and basically hit your own party members at times if your skills aren't that high. Early on, it might not be a good thing. Alright, so that's Berserker. Okay. Bard. Bard is a wandering performer who acquires many skills in his journeys. So they many skills, and they play a musical instrument, which is kind of a cool thing. And so it basically says, do not take this class if you don't want to fly through the game. Bards in this version are sleep and charm machines. So sleep and charm the enemy, that's a good skill to have, with combined access to cleric and wizard spellbook starting from level 3. So that's a good combination spellcaster there. If you want to make your life very easy, take a bard, find sleep and charm instrument, and only increase its speed. His speed. So you basically just use a sleep and charm instrument and just increase your speed. And the reason you want to increase your speed is so they act first. So a bard with good speed and an instrument basically can help a party a lot by basically just charming or putting to sleep the enemy. So you can just basically go and kill it. So that's always. We're probably going to try to have one of those. Try to have a bard and a sage and at least a warrior type. A couple warrior types anyway. Alright. Next. Don't know why it's exactly walking up a little bit here. Let's make it pirate here. Using the pirate one. It's not letting me click on it. Anyway, I'll get back to that one if I have to reload it. Oh, I think it might not be because you can't take that one at first. That's probably it. Yeah, you can't take it, so it's not letting me click on it. But a pirate is a prestige class, which is unlockable later on. But I'll just mention what the pirate is real quickly. It's unlockable, cannot be chosen from the start of the game, but it does have a very powerful thing called lethal blows, which we'll get into later on. Okay. Sage. A sage is an avid scholar who strives to unearth the riches found in books. So sages, I guess, are very learned. Recommended class for their utility spells and detect secret. Now, detect secret is something that we want to have up at all times, because that'll detect any like hidden passages, locked door, some things hidden in the water. There might be coins in the water or hidden items somewhere. So they're good to have that detect secret up at all times. So a sage has that right from the get-go. Also has skills such as rob, mythology, etc. And it says, I skipped it as your first companion. Little Rosie, which is an NPC, does every one of these but better regardless. But, we're not necessarily going to go with that. Little Rosie is an NPC you meet early on. But I kind of like maybe to have a sage in the party other than Little Rosie, so we can level it up. Because that's what half the fun is leveling up your characters and seeing how they progress in the game. So, anyway, so that is a sage. Wizard. The wizard practices the ancient arts of magic, weaving spells and illusions. Pretty standard there. Basic magic user. Okay. Nuke caster with destructive magic later on. Good to have early if you want to skip a sage and or thaumaturge. Bards have access to their spell book. So bards have access to wizard. It's really up to you. So kind of like they're saying it's bard and wizard are kind of like you don't have to have one or the other. Now, just because they have access to the spellbook doesn't mean that bards will be as good as wizards are with their destructive spells. But it's just showing that if you want to, if you're trying to just have certain spellbooks and everything or skills or whatnot, that bards and wizards are kind of a little bit interchangeable, I guess you could say. Maybe a bard's a little bit more jack of all trades and a wizard's more specific. But anyway, we'll see what people want. Okay, now here's the other one right here. Thaumaturge, which is something I had to look up. Let's see. Rosie's class, okay, anyway. That's that one NPC you beat early. Very powerful elemental spells at their disposition. Spellbook accessible by thieves and ranger later on. So elemental spells, thaumaturge, elements and stuff like fire, wind, water, air. I think that kind of stuff. So that's thaumaturge. Ranger. The ranger acquires his skills in the forest, tracking animals and hunting. Okay, let's look at what they say about it here. Okay, shooter with high scout, so they have a high scout skill. That's good. Bows and arrows are rare early on, making them quite useless, but they become killing machines once you stock up on projectiles and skill up their special one-shot. And access to thaumaturge spellbook later on. I think they have that lethal blow too. Their access to that later on. So that is a ranger. Now the next two, Templar and Jester, you can't get right away. But Templar meant to be a secondary class later on, but can be accessed immediately with Durandal. Durandal is one of the races. So if you're Durandal, you can get that Templar if you want to try that. What that is, it's in a good 30+ roll. So you have to roll a 30+ and be a Durandal to get Templar right away. and it's not recommended due to Durandal's con to only wear special gear. It's a mix of warrior with a cleric spellbook. So Templar is a warrior with a cleric spellbook. Interesting. But again, we don't have to have the best of everything. We want to do what's fun, and we still want to be effective, but we want to have fun at the same time. So if you like a certain class and a certain race, by all means, pick those. The Jester, I know there's an NPC that you can pick up later on called Chuckles, who's a Jester. Jester, unlockable, cannot be chosen from the start of the game, similar to Bard with access to more spell books. So it's like a Bard. So it's the rank. I guess we can't look at these, what they say here, but so Templar is they gave a good definition too. I saw somewhere, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's kind of like darker humor kind of stuff, and spells that are kind of like evil spells, but they laugh at the same time, or there's comedy to them, but I can't remember. If I find a definition, I'll mention it to you later. But anyway, so you can't have that at first. Metalsmith. Now I guess, let's see, this is a warrior but better. Actually, let's read what it says here. Metalsmith studies the construction, use, and employment of weapons. Now I guess, from what I've read on the forums and on Steam, this was actually probably like maybe last month or so. So I don't think it's been implemented yet, but it might be soon. That they can use metallurgy, which is like for use for crafting weapons and things like that. But I guess it hasn't fully been implemented yet. So I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing to pick right away. Along with I guess the barter system too hasn't been totally implemented yet. And there's also what's called a food bar, which I'll show you later, which hasn't been implemented in the game. So there's a few things that still need to be, added to the game. So anyway, Metalsmith here, it says warrior but better with ability to forge items. Yeah, I guess that's limited right now. This feature hasn't been fully implemented according to Cleve. That's the guy that invented the game, however. So anyway, but they do have some good skills, I guess. And finally, Assassin. That's another one that's not available at first, but it's unlockable. Cannot be chosen from the start of the game. Upgrade from Thief with Lethal Blow. So I guess later on, if you have a Thief, later on you can upgrade that Thief once you hit a certain part of the game. So it's like a Thief, but with Lethal Blows. So an Assassin there. So alright, so that is it pretty much for so let's just pick one of these just to show you a little bit more what you do. So let's just say I picked a human, and just say I went with a ranger. Okay. So now here are the choices you get after this. You can add, now depending upon, I'm trying to think, at the beginning, if you look to the left over here, see the humans right here? All these attributes right here are like 40, with the exception of Devotion, which is 45, and Destiny, which is 10. So that's pretty basic, pretty standard, is 40 for the middle here. So I guess what happens is that you roll a certain amount, and depending upon what profession you pick, certain professions require certain, like probably with speed, like with the ranger, it's speed, so you need more agility. So this is going to need more than 40 here. So it's going to have to take some of these points that put it into there to fit the class, the race, and then the class that it's picked out of. Certain races are naturally weaker, so they require you to put more points in if you want to become a certain profession. That's why it's partially not recommended to choose certain classes or certain professions for certain races, because you have to end up putting a lot of your points. But let's just say that you don't put a lot of points in these and you had a real high roll. You have a higher bonus remaining kind of thing. So then you'll get more bonus points to put in these different things here. Now these, let me just go over this. Hit points obviously is your health. Kind of important there. Attributes, you can add it to these attributes right here. You can add it to your skill points, which are skills later on like lockpicking and weapon skills and things like that. Now things like weapon skills you can upgrade as you play. certain other things aren't as easy to upgrade, so you might want to put them into your skill points. I know with, like magic use and stuff like that, might want to put a lot like in sorcery skill, because that will unlock more spells and things like that. But we'll go on to that a little bit more. And Destiny, basically what that is, that's kind of like a saving throw from death. So Destiny, say if you get killed, right, you roll a certain dice to try to, and you get like a certain percentage chance, even though you died, from being to not die, basically what it is. So even if you've died and run out of hit points, there's a chance you could still survive if your Destiny points are high. I think certain like the dragon type class and maybe the Naga class, I think they have some built-in high Destiny to start with. But if you want to put Destiny points in there, that could help you survive. Like it's good for like warriors and stuff like that to survive, because you don't want your warrior dying, because if your warriors die, then your party is probably going to die soon after that, as they won't have any protection from the warriors. So you might want to put some, like in your top 1 or 2 characters, meat shields or warriors or rangers or giants or whatever you pick. Berserkers, you might want to put like in points in the Destiny. But anyway, so those are kind of like some ideas there. So I'm gonna like for now just put them into, it's a ranger I picked, so I'm gonna put them into skill points just to show you a little bit here. So the character's name, now we're just gonna call it Mr. Brody, and this isn't going to be Brody's character. And then you pick a portrait, so you can pick any one of these portraits. So if you guys want to look at this now, you can't see the one below Mr. Brody there, but it's kind of like a standard green dragon, kind of like this one right here, but it's just a dragon with no sword in it. But these are the different portraits you can pick. So when you pick your character and your class and your attribute, pick a row and a column. Like, for instance, the rows are obviously across, and the column. So like this guy right here above the suggest, he would be row 5, column 4. Okay, and so yeah, there's not a lot of selection here, and I think you can import your own pictures. I don't know how to do that right now, but again, I have enough issues sometimes doing that with baseball games. But there's enough of selection here, I think. There's 8 times 5 is 40 characters here, so, and we're only going to have 8, so if there's some not fighting, but some people pick the same ones, pick like 2 different, your first choice and a second choice. That would be good. So alright, so yeah, so I think I'm going to kind of end it here. This is almost another half an hour. I pretty much just went over classes here, and a little bit on skills. But if you guys have any other questions, let me know. So we're going to pick a race, a profession, or a class, and a portrait here. Pick 2. Do a first choice and a second choice, if you can. Alright, so I'm just going to show you one other thing here. Let's see what this goes to next. So this was a ranger, so I'm going to pick, let's see, which one of these looks like a ranger. This guy's good. And that is it, as it created this character here. So you don't do the skill points until after you create the character. So as you can see here, Mr. Brody, human ranger, male, level 1st, life and age, experience, next level, and they call him a tracker at first, and it's in patron nature. Hit points, you can only get, see, you don't start with a lot of hit points. Spirit, 100 of 100. I think that's your mana pool. No, it's not your mana pool. Not sure exactly what that is. Vitality, that's before you have to rest kind of thing. And magic, doesn't have much magic here. So anyway, so that is it. Again, I'm going to delete this character. I just wanted to do this for purposes of showing you. So yeah, so definitely post what kind of characters you want. well, portrait and all that stuff. If you have any questions, ask them there, and I'll try to probably do another video before the weekend on any questions people might have. You can also look up Grimoire. There's a guy named No Fair Fight, and another guy. Let's see if I can find his YouTube name, but No Fair Fight is one of the guys that does Grimoire. And another guy is, it's like 10 Seconds to Die, or 2 Hours of Hell, I think it is. I think his name is, see if I can find it here. Yeah, 2 Hours of Hell, all words there. He does a Grimoire series. Although he's a lot more sarcastic overall than, and I mean, I don't know. I like the No Fair Fight guy. They're both good. I mean, 2 Hours of Hell, he gives a lot of videos on his, but if you kind of want just some gameplay and maybe how to create characters a little bit, go to 2 Hours of Hell. And I'll post a couple of links below if I remember to show you the videos on the gameplay that I found were useful in like character creation and stuff, and how to create a party stuff. So anyway, so I will see you in the next video. Go Astros, and I look forward to starting this weekend. So take care and God bless. Mr. Brody says goodbye. Mr. Brody's out for the count. Bye bye now.